Intermittent High-Efficiency 3-Time Reading Method. Author, John Kim. Gaining insights without reading. Approach reading with a mindset of co-authorship. When reading, on one hand, absorb the author's concepts, on the other hand, have your own thoughts. This means reading the author's book with an attitude of equal dialogue, maintaining an independent thinking spirit, and allowing your viewpoints to interact with the author's viewpoints. This will create a new book, a co-authored piece between you and the author. 100 minutes of efficient reading. First time, spend 10 minutes. Second time, spend 50 minutes. Third time, spend 40 minutes. During the second reading, use a highlighter to mark key points, utilizing the right brain's color coding to aid understanding and memory. In the third reading, pay attention to the structure grasped in the first reading and the key points highlighted in the second. Repeating readings 3 times within 100 minutes allows for a clearer grasp of the book's key points compared to spending time carefully reading from start to finish. If you feel your reading speed is too slow, that you're not reading enough, or that you can't remember what you've read, this method can effectively address those issues. Don't feel guilty about skipping over 80% of the content. Adopt a mindset of prioritizing the key points. By reading in this manner 3 times, you will truly understand the essence of the book and remember it well, filtering out the unnecessary. Every book contains a particularly important sentence, which reflects the author's life insights and what they truly want to convey. Quick reading is the ability to see through to the essence. Mastering the skill of speed reading allows you to focus on what truly matters. Grasping key points. Use a thesis-like structure to capture key points. Read while seeking the book's essence, taking a comprehensive view of the content. Understand the book's structure deeply rather than reading word for word. The main points of a thesis can typically be summarized in about 10 lines, as its basic structure is fixed, making it easy to identify key points. If you don't understand something, skip it, just don't stop. Sufficient reading volume will enhance comprehension. Instead of stagnating at difficult sections and feeling frustrated, it's better to skip ahead. After all, reading more will eventually lead to understanding. Trust that you will comprehend it later and continue reading. This is crucial. First, it's an efficiency issue. With enough foundational knowledge, you can make connections and illuminate advanced knowledge. Rather than getting stuck at bottlenecks, steady progress allows comprehension to gradually accumulate energy. When you transition from crawling to walking, you will realize how important the previous accumulation was. Stagnation during bottlenecks is uncontrollable. If you waste too much time, it leads to a second problem, a drop in achievement, feelings of self-loathing, and decreased reading enthusiasm, which can severely hinder ongoing reading. As long as you persist, there's a chance for improvement. Once you stop, there's no possibility for progress. When you want to read again next time, it requires more psychological preparation. It's better to effectively read several times within 100 minutes, balancing curiosity and a sense of achievement, allowing you to gradually appreciate the essence of reading. Reading without purpose. Reading without purpose is pointless. When heading to an unknown destination, uncertainty about the duration can cause anxiety. If you've been to the place before, knowing the distance and destination alleviates confusion. This reflects the significance of repeated reading. By quickly reading through a book, you can get a general sense of its depth and better gauge the effort required. Cultivating a competitive advantage that AI cannot replace, reading is not a pastime but a necessity. Understanding the effects of reading will lead to valuing it more. Continuous dialogue with authors can train your thinking abilities. Simply having information without critical thought renders it ineffective in real life and will eventually be replaced by AI. The future demands thinking skills, and reading is the best tool for cultivating them. Viewing each book as a letter. The author believes that every book should be regarded as a letter written to oneself, and choosing which letter to read is a personal freedom. Every creator in history has been writing letters waiting for me to read. For readers, this is a luxurious enjoyment. Books play various roles. They can be teachers, friends, or signposts. By pondering the author's thought processes, one can self-learn top-tier thinking models. Thinking skills arise from the neural connections in the brain. Reading is about understanding how authors connect their thoughts. Reading beautiful works equates to learning top-notch thinking patterns. Rearranging those thought patterns will give birth to new ideas. The purpose of reading is to enhance one's life. Academic books, philosophical works, and classical masterpieces lay a solid foundation for life, all being essential qualities for living. Instead of reinventing the wheel, learn from the wisdom of predecessors. Personal insight and perspective are limited, but one can stand on the knowledge legacy established by others to gain a broader and more diverse view. Your level of insight depends on how many books you read. Reading versus thinking. Reading does not equate to thinking. Don't fall into the dangerous illusion that just because you've read a book, you've actively engaged your mind. Knowledge without practice cannot be called true wisdom. Reading can benefit life and enhance its value. Online articles and reports cannot surpass books. By avoiding distracting information, one can see the essence of things more clearly. Reading enables true dialogue with oneself. Browsing online or scrolling through a phone may seem productive, but after stopping, you may realize you haven't learned anything meaningful during that time. Therefore, only browse online when necessary and remind yourself to focus on 3 relevant pieces of information. Scrolling apps may push endless trivial comfort messages, often manipulated by algorithms to increase clicks and views, creating a false sense of urgency about missing information. In hindsight, you may realize that you didn't lose much and that the information asymmetry didn't cause significant harm. It's likely that the app developers are simply trying to maximize user engagement through vibrant colors, beautiful images, and busy websites, creating a panic of missing out on information. Thus, within the same time frame, the amount of information read from books can be far greater. Scanning reading. First reading, 10 minutes. Understand the overall picture of the book. Start by looking at the table of contents, casually flipping through the pages, or even reading the last chapter or afterword first. This makes the entire book easier to digest, similar to knowing the destination before carrying a heavy load. Grasp the author's conclusions more easily and find key points more conveniently, allowing you to skip unimportant parts. Strictly adhere to the time limit. If you don't skim through most of the content during the first reading, you won't absorb the truly important information. Instead of wasting time and failing to remember, spend 100 minutes reading thoroughly, ensuring that the key points remain firmly in your memory. Schedule reading time into your calendar, valuing reading as essential as eating. The most important aspect is not how much you can remember, but rather reading 3 times within 100 minutes. The frequency of reading is more beneficial for memory and understanding than the duration spent reading. The shorter the time spent reading a book, the easier it is to develop a reading habit. Reading is like traveling, experiencing different daily lives. Second reading, 50 minutes. Grasp key points and details while using both microscopic and telescopic perspectives. It's advisable to use a yellow highlighter to mark interesting parts. Reflect on your worries and feelings, considering what knowledge you currently need. When learning a new field, read at least 3 to 5 books. If you need to acquire new knowledge, extensive reading is the best method. Reading classical masterpieces while having background knowledge will significantly enhance comprehension, making the experience less tedious. Understanding the author's life will make the reading dimensional, as if the author is genuinely conversing with you. Read more good books and speak more good words. Language shapes a person's thoughts and life, even their future. Words carry emotions and intentions that cannot be expressed thoroughly. Reading habits in children begin with their parents. Book gifts offer a new worldview. Third reading, 40 minutes. Engage in deep reading and write down your insights. Expressing your thoughts directly in the book is the best way to absorb and learn. There's no need to write a separate reading journal, just jot down notes in the margins. Truly good books can be read a 4th or 5th time. The more you read, the deeper your understanding will be. Simply reading without writing will lead to forgetting. From an objective perspective, view your notes as if they were someone else's. If you can't articulate your thoughts, it means you don't yet have a complete set of your own ideas. Being able to express your thoughts indicates that your thinking is complete. Writing clarifies and crystallizes your thoughts. The blank spaces in the book are your thinking space, waiting for you to record your insights. Notes don't need to be lengthy, 1 to 2 lines are sufficient. Don't try to write down all your thoughts, summarize them in 1 to 2 lines to harness the power of language and construct new thinking. Language depicts all things in worldviews. It is the method of facing language. Reading constructs thoughts, and thoughts become reality. Reading is about creating the future, relying on your abilities to shape it. Books are gateways to new worlds. Books serve 2 functions. One is to expand your world, and the other is to provide a different perspective on the familiar world. This means both broadening and deepening your understanding. Each book you hold is not merely a book, it is an entryway to other books and a guide through those entrances. Do not sell books you've finished, they contain your unique insights, reflecting the true meaning of co-creation. Books can be gifted to suitable recipients, sharing knowledge to internalize it thoroughly. Approach each book with 3 questions. Consider the author's purpose in writing this book. Identify the most critical content in the book. Think about how the book's content can be applied in life and any questions or thoughts you have about it. Reading is about mapping your life. Marking lines and writing notes in books is meaningful. Those highlights and reflections will serve as your compass for the future. Choosing books. Develop the skill of selecting books by first assessing your current needs. Write down your 3 main needs. Check the title, cover, or book jacket to see if the author's qualifications meet those needs. Begin by grasping the overall structure and carefully reviewing the table of contents. Confirm chapter titles and the overall content to understand the book's purpose and framework. Once you grasp the structure, you can identify where valuable advice lies and skip sections that don't interest you. Decide how much time to spend on each book beforehand. Set a deadline for completing your reading. When encountering difficult sections, skip them directly. Establish reading purposes and strategies, clarifying your reading goals. Without a strategy, there won't be direction, like climbing a mountain without prior preparation. Be proactive, don't passively absorb knowledge. Use the author's guidance as a reference, but trust your intuition. Your reading method should align with your objectives. Capture key points by reviewing the table of contents, images, charts, and prefaces. Focus on the beginnings and ends of each chapter to extract highlights, understanding the context of the content. Familiarize yourself with the author's life and background to grasp the thematic context and the true message they wish to convey. Highlighting and writing key points. Marking key points and writing highlights allows for co-creation with the author. Use your own words to record insights that may be more profound than the author's. Write reviews with a submission mindset, summarizing 3 main points to share the knowledge gained from reading. Try sharing your insights. Teaching reinforces learning. Writing down your thoughts enhances the learning process, enabling you to rethink your explanations for better understanding. Understanding content first and then thoughtfully considering how to express it will lead to a deeper comprehension than typical learning methods. Mastering reading techniques is a shortcut to success. For those unaccustomed to reading or lacking experience, learning these techniques can enrich your life through reading.